everybody, and welcome to Side Quest, the adventures of the Authors and Dragons crew when we're not on actual adventures that you listen to in the game format. I am Drew Hayes, and joining me today are Robert Bevan, Rick Gualteri, and John Hartnett. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, you stole my joke. Fuck you.
Stole the only joke.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got nothing. It was a stressful day.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. It was good enough for George Burns. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, and that fucker lived to be 300 years old, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you had a rough day, but luckily we are going to open a bonus action with something pretty fun and light and chill, a combo of those things. Man, we really wanted to talk about Legends of Tomorrow, specifically the Lucha Libre episode that came on a few weeks ago as of when you're listening to this. But also just the show in general from season 3 onward, and what a fucking transformation it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy shit, that show's good.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it when it first came on, when it had that first season arc, but then second season it was kind of like it didn't really know where it was going. And yeah, somewhere in third season they just said, fuck it, we don't care where we're going.
I feel like from the top of third season, they just came out swinging, like, because they make jokes about like how close they are to cancellation a few times. It's like, okay, I think they knew that it was go big or go home time.
Yeah, I fucking hated the first season and have never finished watching it. I wanted to shoot Rip Hunter and piss in his corpse's mouth. So I maybe wasn't a fan of that. But I heard a lot of people talking about how great it was, and I think I heard people talking about it mostly once season 3 started. So I went back and watched season 2, and then now it's like I watch it on the CW website because I don't have cable anymore, and so that's how I have to watch it. But it's like one of the very few things that I make a point to watch the same week it comes out.
I've never seen it.
I read a Wikipedia of the first 2 seasons and then just jump in at season 3, because honestly, you're more likely to not watch it if you go through the first 2. And season 3 on really is so damn fun. Like, they have a Groundhog Day episode early on in, and it's just it sort of just felt like they were like, all right, all the sappy shit is not working. This is an insane premise. It's an assassin heading a team of misfits and dumbasses with a time ship where they keep kind of fucking things up in just the right way to skate through. Let's just lean into the wackiness, and it worked as soon as they did.
Yeah, and what's cool is like the other CW like Arrowverse shows kind of play into it, because every so often they'll just mention something like, you know, like the Legends dropping in and like time travel or some shit. So they just kind of go with it as well.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, you guys are selling it a lot better than the fucking Wikipedia page, because I had no idea what any of that shit was about.
It's weird to me that in the first 2 seasons, when they're trying to treat it seriously, they always felt like the 4th tier string, both in terms of the show and like what the characters were capable of. But weirdly, once they became sillier, they also started feeling a lot more competent on the screen. And it truly does sort of feel like just this collection of people who are a little too powerful, who just are like, fuck it, let's do this for a while.
Yeah, and they even felt like the 4th string show when there were only 3 shows.
Yeah.
So, for me, when John Constantine joined, I was like, I'm in. Fucking in.
Yeah, I'll admit he definitely adds.
Well, and Matt Ryan, when the Constantine TV show was cast, I looked at that and I was like, yeah, that guy's fucking John Constantine. And then I watched it and I was like, holy shit, that guy's really John Constantine. And then the rest of the show sucked and got canceled. All right, the rest of the show was mediocre and got canceled. So I was really happy when they put him on to Legends.
I'm going to embarrass myself maybe, but is it the same Constantine as in the movie with Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
All right, I did see
character,
that.
Not
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Only more jokes.
I think I enjoyed that.
A lot more jokes, a lot more bleached blonde hair, which is, you know, true to the comics.
A lot more pansexual, which is truer to the comics.
To the comics, yeah. I was talking to my friend. I was like, of all the crazy shit about Legends of Tomorrow, the most insane thing might be that it has 3 openly bisexual characters, none of whom are treated as like a sex object or a joke. Because it's like Sarah's in a very healthy relationship. John Constantine's just like, this is just how I roll. And Gary is like the goofiest one, but even that's treated like, yeah, you're just, you're figuring your shit out. This is new to you. That's okay.
Yeah, people are more mocking him because he's Gary, not because of like who he sleeps with.
Yeah, they're like, at no point is that an issue. It's just like, no, you're just a doofy motherfucker.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who the third you were talking about was because I had forgotten Gary's sexuality. I was just like, oh, that goofy bastard.
Yeah, for a little bit I was like, it was a one-off, but then they even reference it again, like in season 4. Nate says to him, it's like, no, man, you're a modern dude. You're surfing the sexuality spectrum. You're figuring your shit out. It's like, oh, okay, we're keeping that in. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, God. The most redeeming thing, I think, when I was in season 3 and I was like, oh, my God, they really are doing some magic here, was when it was fun to watch Damien Darkby on screen again. Because, like, that actor was always great, but that character just got dog shit to do. I mean, he was part of what many would consider to be the fall of Arrow, like that season.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm sure some fans would have debate, but, like, you can't deny that it's in contention. And, even in season 2 of Legends, it was, again, bad. And it just felt like that. But then in season 3, they just sort of turned him into more of like just a put upon villain who's just kind of like going through the motions. It's his 3rd time doing all this shit. And he's just like, I don't give a shit.
In all fairness, they started lightening him up in season 2. Like, he wasn't just like evil for the sake of evil. Like, like especially near the end, he started to become the whole, okay, are we really going to do this bullshit? But yeah, in season 3, there was definitely where they could focus on him and make him like 3-dimensional there.
I like the one where he's like pretending to like he's just making the noises like he's torturing one of the characters because like the evil mastermind is in the other room, and then he's just like occasionally banging on the wall and then sitting down and they're just like talking because it's at this point they fought each other so many times they just kind of have a rapport.
Yeah, and I love that actor.
Oh, he's fantastic.
I loved him in Justified. I love him.
Oh, who was he in Justified?
In one of the later seasons, he was basically the albino bad guy.
I don't remember an albino bad guy in Justified.
Yeah, he was one of the drug lords from out of town with the Memphis Mafia. The guy who kept who would pick up young gay hustlers and then tie them up and beat them to death.
Okay, that kind of rings a bell.
He was also in the Marvel Universe, Dum Dum Dugan.
Oh my God, he was Dum Dum Dugan. He was in Suits too.
It was a huge disconnect for me watching him beat Dum Dum Dugan. That was a little fucked up.
So we love Legends after season 3, and one of the more recent episodes, they went into history in Mexico. They dealt with a El Santo stand-in.
They wrote an episode just for you and me.
Yeah. Basically, they mixed time travel, magic, and lucha libre, and it was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
They really got the whole lucha libre vibe down because that is. You would think that would be a simple thing to do, but it is really easy to fuck that up.
It really is, and they brought in so much El Santos stuff, like talking about him doing movies and comic books and eventually being buried in his mask.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how many, like, people don't necessarily know about El Santo, considering the cultural impact he had.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean... You're a little excused because you're not a wrestling fan, but I mean, without El Santo, there's no Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, it's almost like if you imagine like you didn't know about the most famous actor who was also comic book Superman, who was also a super famous sports star, all one guy.
Yeah,
right.
Like that's crazy.
One thing you have to understand, Bob, and like. wrestling in the U.S., I mean, we kind of like elevate our like, the wrestlers to like, a larger than life status. But in like Mexico and Japan, if you are a famous wrestler there, you are essentially on the same level of godhood. You are at the top of the top, like, type of celebrity.
Yeah. The sport has a lot kind of more, how do I put this? The tradition is there in a lot of the ways, but it's a lot more kind of a respected tradition. Wrestling isn't so much seen as a sport in, the States, with obvious reasoning being behind the predetermined outcomes and blah, blah, blah. But like, it's also just, it doesn't sort of get the same respect that other sports do. Whereas in like those cultures, a lot more folks are like, no, fuck you. Lucha Libre is awesome.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're right. Lucha Libre is awesome.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, those guys are out there fucking killing themselves in night after night. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. You're not getting that argument from me.
Yeah, it never got. Well, the cartoony nature of it never caused it to be disrespected like it did here, because I think Hulk Hogan and the rock and wrestling thing being on Saturday morning cartoons led to a whole generation of Americans thinking that wrestling was kid stuff. And that didn't happen in Japan and in Mexico. It's something that people just grew up and continued to enjoy. But for a long time, wrestling in the U.S. was something that, well, I liked it when I was a kid, and then I stopped, and now I'm kind of back.
That was the Attitude Era when everybody came back.
Yeah, I was never there.
It was just never left after that.
Oh, man. So, Bevan, have we sold you on Legends of Tomorrow?
Kind of, yeah. I might give it a whirl one of these days.
To try and put, I guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The first 3 seasons are on Netflix, so you can watch all of that for free. And I think you can watch most of season 4 on the CW website. Believe
you are right. To try and put a small kernel of germaneness to what we do, and I guess what this topic should be about, it is also an interesting case study on what happens maybe when you take the shackles off of a concept. Like there's a common idea, you see it more in television necessarily than novels, but that you want to try and steer toward the center of appeal. Like you want it to be a little watered down maybe and a little less weird in order for it to appeal to a greater number of people. And I love that Legends getting weirder also made it so much better, because I don't always agree with that idea. And I think there's something to be said for understanding that this is going to be niche and it's going to be kind of strange, but because it is that strange, it's going to scratch an itch the watered down shit never can.
And it's also a rarity. I mean, how many shows are able to essentially completely reinvent themselves mid-run and not utterly fuck it up?
The Good Place.
Did that reinvent itself?
It's reinvented itself every season.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first season, then like halfway through season 2, I don't know, we started to get a little bored by it. Sorry, Drew.
It's all right. If you don't complete the season, you haven't understood the full arc and seen the breadth of the glory.
Bob exists as kind of like the anti-us, and that everything we talk about, he just comes in and shits on.
No, I'm not trying to shit on The Good Place. I liked the first season. It grew a little tiresome.
That's okay, Bob. I've made it through 2 episodes.
And you haven't even gotten to the meat of it. You're still in the part where they're pretending it's a normal sitcom to lure you into that sense of security.
Oh, well then when does it start? When does it stop being a suck-ass sitcom and I can skip those episodes?
You really can't.
I enjoyed the whole first episode, the first season.
I think it's all still pretty good, but like the first few episodes start out playing it straight, like it's a normal sitcom. And then I think around like 4 or 5, it starts purposely kind of inverting what the plot points you think will happen are. It starts kind of like gently catching you by surprise and turning things. And then like around the halfway point 7, it just completely breaks what you expect the intended path of the story to be. in such a fundamental way that you're like, holy shit, wait, what are they going to do now? And then the rest of that season is just sort of, you're still getting your feet. And then the end of it is, oh, holy shit, you get a big new piece of information that recontextualizes things. And you realize that the writing in every scene has been like 5 layers deep.
Yeah. There's a big reveal. I think it's episode 4 or 5. And up until then, I found the show amusing. I was basically watching on the strength of your recommendation, Drew. But when that hit, it fucking killed me. I thought that was the most hilarious fucking thing. And like I said,
I bet I know what it is.
Yeah, you know. I'm like I said,
yeah, 4 or 5. Oh, homie, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just that hit me so fucking hard.
Oh my God, that's crazy. John hasn't even met one of the funniest fucking characters in the series. He bailed out too early.
Not one of the funniest fucking character in the series.
Oh, I disagree. I think Janet's the best.
Yeah, my favorite bits are I forget. I haven't seen it so long. What's the main character's name?
Eleanor Shellstrop, played by Kristen Bell.
Right. She. I love her flashbacks to her life.
Yeah. Eat my farts. I literally opened this call. I greeted everyone by saying, "What's up, Dongbait?" Which is from her character.
And there was silence, like deafening silence, because Rick and I were like, "What the fuck?"
Well, you know what it is. I like the show, but I'm a Netflix binger with it. Like I'm waiting for like the current season to make it over there, and I'll just sit there and like have a lost weekend, catching up. It's one of those things where like when this season started, I was caught up, but I didn't bother to DVR, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I probably could catch up, but I'll just wait till it's all fucking done.
Hey, listen, I don't know how off track we want to get, but have you guys seen Santa Clarita Diet?
I was actually about to pull us back on track.
I just finished season 3 of that, and that show just gets better and better.
I know. I love seeing Timothy Olyphant being so fucking goofy.
Oh my God, he has the best everything. Like every time he's on screen, his expressions just like nobody even has to talk. His expressions just say it all.
We need to save this for another side quest then.
Yeah, I feel like we're all right. We're veering a little hard off, but you know what? That's okay, because that is sort of what our main topic is about. It's about going off course. It's about things going a little awry. It's about Vegas, baby, and just like Vegas, we got surprises. Joe, say hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, good. I thought
I would have been like, God damn it.
And
I was going to say,
Vegas,
the surprise
you
is...
get fucked. No joke for you.
Yeah, the surprise is Joe's not here.
But wait, let's back up. Drew, is there any reason why we would want to talk about Vegas?
Well, no, honestly, just kind of a fan.
There
is the one thing. They have great buffets. And also, we're hosting a con there in September 21st and 22nd, Authors and Dragons Convention. They can get tickets if they were interested at facebook.com/authors and dragons, where there's a pinned post with, the little link right there and all the pertinent information. It's going to be held at the Bally's again, September 21st, 22nd. We will be there. We're working on some fun programming, including a custom module run by the Authors and Dragons crew, and our 100th episode, which will be done live in front of an audience. And okay, I feel like that's a pretty good round prerequisite plug. Let's dive into Vegas.
I was going to say 2 whole days with us. What could be better? Note that's a rhetorical question.
Legalize prostitution.
All right, you know what? That's a great one. Common myth. That's Reno, buddy.
Yeah, actually not legal in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Oh,
Not that it stops anyone.
Yeah.
One of the favorite games of Vegas is Spot the Hooker.
Wait a second. I thought it was a statewide thing.
It's technically not in the city limits of almost any city.
So
basically,
you're going to go out in the
legalized.
desert to fuck a hooker?
That's why they build ranches. Yes. They build whorehouses out in the desert.
So yeah. All right. What we're going to be talking about is Vegas stories and, common Vegas questions and myths. This is so a little bit of background. I love Vegas. It's a weird mix of like classiness and trashiness that hits me right in my home. Because that is just sort of a lot of aspects of my world slammed together right there. And God, It's fun. Everything you need is within walking distance, and everything you don't need is in closer walking distance.
Yeah.
John is also a big fan of Vegas, and I think, Rick, you've been there once.
Yes.
So we are the slightly experienced folks who will be dropping some knowledge, and Bevan has never been to Vegas, so he will sort of be the voice of the audience, asking the questions that he has wondered about, or the things he might have seen and he's not sure if those are real or not, such as legal prostitution.
Yeah, that was the one. I think I just shot my load.
No, you won't be doing that.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Well, I will. I mean, by myself.
I don't need any details.
He's like, I could drive to the desert. I'm an adult.
I was talking about masturbating. Thank you.
I was trying to make you not, but sure.
Well, that thought exists in people's heads now.
If they have
Joe,
listened,
what is your Vegas experience? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you on that one.
You forgot that I was here.
Well, we did the rundown earlier, and yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So actually, I have only been to quote unquote Vegas once, and by that I mean I've been through the airport.
then you haven't been to Vegas.
Yeah. In fact, I was like, oh, hey, cool. I'm in Las Vegas technically right now. This is neat, and I'm wandering around the airport. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any local. That's slot machines right next to the food court.
Yes.
Did you do a hooker in the airport?
No, I did not do a hooker in the airport.
You haven't been to Vegas.
You know, I gotta say there is one shame I have for my time in Vegas, and it involves
You did a hooker in the airport?
No, and it involves a hooker or lack of one. I was out there for the CES show with pretty much everybody from my company. So we had one night where I didn't blow them off, and we actually sat down for dinner as a team, and every single person had a hooker in the elevator story. It's like, I got on. Somebody asked me if I wanted to party. I told them. It didn't matter, age, creed, sex, religion. They all had a hooker story, except for me. And I called my wife, and I was like, I'm so sad. I have no hooker story. No, I wasn't propositioned. And she was like, you look like a fucking narc. That's why.
Well, I do too, but I was actually propositioned in Houston at Comic Palooza.
Wow.
And you guys are identical twins, so you can't have different looks.
That makes me feel even worse. Bob gets the Comic-Con hookers,
Oh my God! I will say, Joe, for the point about the slot machines.
Yeah,
that is God. As someone from New Orleans originally, I love Vegas because it is like NOLA in that it knows what it is, and it knows what it's about, and it knows what you're fucking there for.
Yep. So one of the great weird things about it is, like I said, I've never been to Vegas, but I live in an area of Washington State with a whole shit ton of casinos with an easy reach, because they're on all of the Indian reservations. And there's this. I've been to shows there. I've been to a couple of great buffets there. My cousin had his wedding rehearsal dinner at a super trashy casino, which is the most Lewis County, Washington thing ever. But I remember being in Vegas, and there's a certain there's people who are super excited at the slot machines. There's people who are having a ball, and there's the dead-eyed people. It's those people who are sitting at the machines. They're just kind of my next is time to win.
They are the rocket upon which Vegas is built.
And don't forget the angry old people.
Oh God,
yeah. And that is their slot machine. And if you fucking touch it, they will cut you.
My friend Grubby used to tell the story about when because he was a slot machine nut, and he was walking up to a slot machine, and he noticed an old lady vacating the slot machine, and she was, grumpy old lady, and he sat down and realized that the grumpy old lady had been sitting there for a very long time.
Oh, is this a piss on the floor story?
No, this is a piss in the seat story. He sat down, and a minute later he realized, my ass is wet. Oh, God.
Yeah, because I do know, casino culture. I spent a year or two in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast. And I actually worked for about 9 months at the Beau Rivage Casino there in Biloxi.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I didn't witness any pissing in the seats, but I heard about it. Well, I'm talking about there's a bunch of lesser casinos around there as well.
Yes, there are. I played at the Imperial Palace in Gulfport.
You weren't working at the Hard Rock. God. Okay, so Vegas. John, let's start with you. When did you first go to Vegas? And let's see, what's your favorite place to stay?
So the first time I went to Vegas was, probably 1998, 99. The first time I went to Vegas was for a work conference, and we stayed at the Las Vegas Hilton, which is right next to the convention center. And I wasn't into poker then. I wasn't really into gambling then. So it wasn't much of a trip. And then from, 2004 to 2008, I probably went 15 times or so because I was working in the online poker industry. So I would go and play a lot of poker and meet up with people, and I would go out during the World Series. My favorite place to stay is the MGM Grand. The rooms are comfortable. The place is fucking huge. There's plenty of different food options. The buffet is good, but it's not like Bellagio expensive. So it's also not Bellagio good. But the buffet is good, as opposed to some I've eaten at, which are fucking terrible. Rio.
I was about to say the fucking Rio. That was literally on my lips.
Now that the Imperial Palace has been blown up, the Rio's got to be the worst fucking buffet near the Strip.
Oh, and people still try to pitch it to you about that seafood. It's like, no, have you not been in 10 years, or did I just piss you off?
Oh, no, it sucked 10 years ago.
Oh, God.
Because that's when I went, and that was fucking awful. So, yeah, I really like the MGM Grand. I haven't stayed at Aria. I've played poker there, and it's one of my favorite poker rooms, although the Venetian is my very favorite poker room because the rake is lower. Any poker room that has a bad beat jackpot, you've got to understand that you're contributing $1 out of every pot towards that bad beat jackpot. And the reason it's a jackpot is because it's really fucking hard to win. So odds are you're just giving away an extra $1 to the poor bastard who eventually wins the fucking jackpot. And it ain't going to be you. So it's like buying a lottery ticket every 10, 15 minutes or so.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a rough one. Venetian is gorgeous. I've never walked into the Venetian and found my way back to the same entrance. Like the Venetian Palazzo one, because like you can go down and then there's so many different fucking ways to go. I've never found my way back to that entrance. I always come out on some side. I was always a little bit drunk, but you know.
When I was going there a lot, I would always go in and out the poker room entrance. So that's where I won the most money too. I split first in the daily noon tournament, and I think it was about $1,100. So that wasn't a bad afternoon.
John, I got a fun poker story for you. I was I forget what casino it was. It was one of the Mississippi Gulf Coast casinos. My brother wanted me to go do a poker tournament with him, and so we went there. And like 5 rounds in, it's like I put down my cards, and I was like, oh well, guess this is over. And I got up to leave, and the guy says, "Dude, you got a straight." Oh, okay. I ended up winning that tournament.
That sigh is the sigh of someone who has played with a motherfucker like you so many times. And it usually ends up with me with pocket aces, and you calling a big pre-flop raise with a king and some other bullshit, and getting a flush to crack my aces.
I didn't get much. I only have 3 1s here.
Yep.
And an instruction card? I don't even know how that got in there.
If I've got one tip for people who are going to Vegas, real talk, and this is the kind of thing that people don't actually tell you, lip balm. It lip balm. It's
Okay.
a fucking desert, kids.
Yeah.
Fucking lip balm. And if your hands get nasty, hand lotion, but seriously, I don't use chapstick or lip balm any time ever except in Vegas. So I pick up a little tube of Burt's Bees lip balm at a gas station before I go, and it will save you literal pain.
Well,
That's a very good one.
Let's say I'm covered because I'm one of those like crazed chapstick addicts.
Oh, you and my
one on
wife.
me.
Ugh.
It's if you live in a variable climate. All right, that's a good addition too, John. So Rick, I know you've only got the one. So tell us, about your trip there. Maybe was there any casino hotels that if you didn't love the one you were in that you were like, oh, I really want to stay there, ones that really grabbed your attention? And
Sure.
I liked John's thing. Throw in a tip you got for Vegas.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've only been to Vegas one time, but I've been to Atlantic City, being in New Jersey, several times. And the best way I could for somebody on the East Coast who's never been there, the best way I could describe Vegas is Atlantic City cubed. It's basically everything Atlantic City is, except like, a lot more of everything. Except, well, okay, maybe not except. I do hear there's some scummy parts of Vegas. There are lots of, there's some major scummy parts of Atlantic City, so I'm not sure how that compares. But there are definitely some parts of Atlantic City you just do not want to walk through.
Yeah, it is harder to walk from the major resorts in Vegas to a place where you will get shivved for $5 than it is in Atlantic City.
Oh yeah, Atlantic City is basically known as you step out of that. That's known as stepping off the boardwalk. But so my first time there, I stayed at Mandalay Bay. My first and only time there. The place actually was fine. The only thing I didn't like was because the company went cheap, everybody was sharing a room, and which would have been better, except Mandalay Bay at the time had this weird thing where they actually didn't have bathroom doors.
Oh.
It wasn't like a closable, lockable bathroom door. It was just like some screen, and I'm like thinking to myself, okay, I got a time taking a shit when this guy's just not around, because I was like, I want a bathroom door. I don't want this privacy screen. Like, and I don't know. Maybe they booked us in a lover's suite or something. I don't know. But
how much does a fucking door cost?
Exactly. I was there and I'm like, where's the bathroom door? Where is the fucking I was like, there ain't no bathroom door. What the fuck is this?
I wouldn't be okay with that if I was in a room by myself.
Yeah.
That would feel that would feel like alarmingly exposed. That's like, someone could break into my hotel room and see me buck ass naked right now.
Yeah. Like the only saving grace was whoever I was rooming with. I guess he met friends or relatives there, so he pretty much stayed out of the room most of the time, other than to show up at like maybe 2 a.m, fall asleep for 4 hours, and then leave. So that made it tolerable. And even so, it was kind of like it was almost like, okay, I need to take a dump. Let me put the do not disturb sign on. Let me put like the chain lock on the main door.
Chain lock. Put the deadbolt.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this though, Rick. There was a solution. You just didn't know it. Great thing about Vegas, man. Those bathrooms, spotless. And most of them, like floor to ceiling stalls. You can take a shit basically anywhere on the strip with the level of comfort you would get in a hotel room.
See?
Greater than the level.
Yeah, I was going to say greater.
They have doors.
Now, as far as other places that looked cool, we were next door to the Luxor, which like I walked in and I was like, I would have rather stayed there. And I did get a chance to go into the MGM Grand for maybe a few minutes. And I was like, yeah, I would want to stay here too. But other than
same
that,
thing about Luxor.
What?
That you don't think about when you're walking through at ground level. Mm-hmm. So the Luxor's built like a pyramid, right?
Yep.
And all the hotel rooms go up and come to a point, right? What does sound do in those great big open fucking spaces? Apparently, from friends of mine that have stayed there, the top floors of the Luxor are so goddamn loud. It's a good thing it's in Vegas because you can't fucking sleep.
Who sleeps in Vegas?
Then maybe I'm glad I didn't stay there. I mean, outside of that, I was at the convention center for most of it for the CES show, which, as a tech nerd, that was just wild.
Yeah, CES is probably like NAB, which is the National Association of Broadcasters show, which is what I went out there for. And holy shit, that's a show.
Yeah, I mean,
any tips or favorite places you visited, maybe anything like that?
I would say my tip, and this is just really when I go anywhere that is touristy trap, is similar to like the advice you gave us when we were in New Orleans, is like make as little eye contact as possible, because chances are that person's trying to sell you something.
It sounds like it's almost like making eye contact with those no, I was going to say the salesman in the middle of the row at the mall.
Very, very spot on. Actually, that is a great tip, Rick. So there's a lot of people who will be out in like costumes and weird outfits, and they will try to like hand you tickets to clubs with VIP packages that are not real. And they will be like, take a picture with us, or they'll see you taking a picture and they'll try to get in, and then they'll be like, now, you should probably fork over like $20-$30 for that, right? So yeah, be very aware that Vegas, the Strip, is a tourist mecca. People know that. Standard downtown rules apply. Keep your eyes ahead on a scan. It's not an especially dangerous area because it is so well patrolled, because it is such a tourist hotspot. But if you don't want to deal with the buskers, just don't engage.
Yeah, I meant definitely more from that than like make eye contact and like suddenly you're like you're on a boat like tied up beneath decks. More that's there's definitely that vibe there of everybody wants to either sell you something or scam you out of something.
So I mentioned porn slappers earlier, and you guys acted like you didn't know what I was talking about.
No.
Porn. I've not heard
no.
the term porn and the term slappers seem to be intimately related, but I have not heard them voiced in that precise order.
So there's a string of guys along the Las Vegas Strip, and they have trading cards. They're not really trading cards. They're coupons for prostitutes.
Oh.
And they keep them in small stacks, and they slap them against their palm to make a noise back and forth, kind of like playing cards in bicycle tires. So as you're walking by, it's like ta 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 ta, and they've got this rhythm down. So it's slap, slap, and they extend their hands. Slap, slap, extend. Slap, slap, extend. And they're wanting to get you to take these flyers of hookers. And it's basically porn photos scraped off Pornhub with stars over the naughty bits. So, I mean, I have friends who literally have wallpapered closet doors in their home with unique porno trading cards.
I'm looking for something for my garage.
Cover a wall, man.
Bevan, you are apparently going to the right place.
And they're almost all wearing these long neon T-shirts that say in huge black letters, "Girls, direct to you in 30 minutes." So a friend of mine asked the guy, "I don't care about the cards. How much to buy your T-shirt?"
I was gonna say, it's like Domino's. Is it free if it's 31 minutes?
Damn.
How much?
Never
was the
checked. $30 6 years ago.
Not bad. Not a wildly unfair price.
I mean, I'm assuming it's 50 now, but
That inflation.
yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm our last Vegas has been to person. I'm more in the Hartness camp in that I have been multiple times. I went for the first time as a kid, like with my parents, so I sort of don't count that. First real trip experiencing Vegas was a few years ago for a friend's birthday. Stayed out at Caesars because that was the one I knew from movies, and so that was the one I booked. I am very influenceable, I'm now realizing. But had a great time. Booze, fun, food, such good food. And that was I feel like the right way for me to do Vegas was with a group of friends. And so it would just be, we'd all kind of get up at our respective times. We'd all get food. And then we'd all just kind of like amass together as we were, finding our feet. And we would kind of just walk one direction up the strip the first day and then come back down and go into every casino. And, we would drink, and then some people play the slots. I like craps. I will lose $100 on craps per trip. Like, that's all. But I will lose that 100 because I'm okay with it. I love the experience of craps. It's fun being at the table, and that's just a treat I'm willing to pay for on vacation within very strict limits, because it's fun, but it ain't that fun. So we'd all just kind of go through and we'd explore and we'd check the shit out, and that was a great trip. And that's how I've kind of done Vegas since, is I try to go find things I haven't done yet, a show, a restaurant, what have you, because I'm not honestly even that big of a gambler, but I love the food scene and the entertainment and just the excess of it. I think I've talked about this a little bit. I've started not really sleeping as much anymore, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. It just, after about 6.5 hours, I just wake up like wide-eyed and rested. I'm just done.
I don't have kids.
I was gonna say, fuck you.
You may be on.
So I've started waking up at like 4:30 every day.
Fuck you.
Which is great for like productivity, but on vacation it's really weird because it's just like I'm awake and the rest of the world is asleep. But Vegas is awesome because at 4:30 when I wake up, I take a shower, I go grab some food, I walk over, I pick up some beers. I can start my day. Time sort of has no relevancy there, which is the thing I love about it. Favorite hotel to stay at, Cosmo. For multiple reasons, in fact. One, as we've kind of went into, I love the food of Vegas. I love that there's so many like famous chefs and shit that you can try there. And there is a ton of great shit at the Cosmo. The best buffet on the Strip, in my opinion, but a very well-researched opinion at this point, is Wicked Spoon in the Cosmo. So fucking good. Bacchanal and Caesars is also very good for all the people who were like racing to the comments section. But I like a bigger selection, and I think Wicked Spoon does that. God, they have Milk Bar. They have fucking the Halio by Jose Andres. And then they have a tasting restaurant inside of Halio. Where
How soon should we be booking?
That now.
Okay.
Do you want to eat? There's 12 seats a night, and they do two there's 2 servings, 12 seats a night. It's so like that one is crazy, but there's also just like things you can walk into. Secret Pizza is in the Cosmo, which is a pizza place that has no sign and no name. It's just a hallway that if you happen to walk down it, you find yourself in a pizza place.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
Oh, I fucking love. Yeah, it's so much great food stuff is right there. That's why it's my favorite. Also, they have balconies, which I like, and marijuana is legal in Las Vegas, and in a legal state, I like to indulge. So the balcony is one of the few places you can legally smoke marijuana on the Strip.
I was going to say that secret pizza place. I was remembering like Harry Potter World and like Universal. And I'm like, how much better would that be instead of like, oh, I'm in Diagon Alley where they're trying to sell me plastic wands. No, welcome to Diagon Pizza.
No, fucking welcome to this is like let's have a realistic, true to the British experience Hogwarts. It's like, sorry, Steve. It's like you've got kids selling you fucking wizard juice to get high on. I was like, oh, dude, you want to snort this dragon powder?
Yeah, we could probably find that in Vegas too.
I have no doubt.
Oh, you can definitely find that in Vegas. Oh, my tip. I have a great tip, actually. So, booze is expensive in casinos. You can get free booze by gambling, but there's a pretty clear inherent risk in that strategy. You might end up paying quite a bit for that Bud Light. But there's a CVS/Walgreens everywhere. Everywhere on the Strip at the end of a block, there is a Walgreens or a CVS. And if you go in, they will have a great beer selection. They will also probably, no liquor. Liquor, you have to go to the ABC stores, which they also have a pretty fair amount of spread out. So you can go in there and you can buy a very reasonably priced beer. In fact, kind of a cheap one. Buy a few of them, and you can just walk the strip. It is an open container, so you can have them. You can bring a backpack. I bought a fanny pack on my first trip, and I stuffed with tall boys as I walked down the strip and just kind of pull one out and throw one away. It's fucking a cheap way to, drink your way up and down the strip without breaking the bank.
All right, yeah, this is a thing I've done in Mississippi. I want to ask if it's feasible here. I'm not a big gambler. I don't enjoy it. However, I do enjoy drinking, and I enjoy drinking at bars specifically. All right, here, my strategy in Mississippi was I go up to the bar, they got a video poker machine. I got $20. I'll play slowly and, however much it is, a quarter at a time or whatever, and drink myself silly on free drinks.
Kinda. It depends on the bartender and how they're feeling, because they're supposed to only let you do that if you're max betting on video poker, which is $1 a run.
That sucks. All right, yeah. See, this is why I had the question. The bartender in my case in Mississippi was my brother.
Yeah. Yes, it's safe to say you probably can't go there and be like, okay, here's my strategy: play the penny slots and get shit faced.
Oh no, that strategy works.
What?
That strategy works 100%. You sit at a penny slot, and the cocktail waitresses who are patrolling the floor are not paying a goddamn bit of attention to how much you're gambling.
All right.
And then you just tip them $1 every time they walk by.
All right. There's the Bevan tip.
The other Bevan tip, I understand that you don't like gambling, but you like hanging out with your friends.
Yes.
Let me introduce you to our Lord and Savior, Pai Gow.
What the fuck is that?
Pai Gow is
product placement.
It's an Asian poker game.
Oh. Okay.
You're dealt 7 cards, and there are 6 seats and a dealer. You're playing only against the dealer. You look at your 7 cards, and you make your best 2-card poker hand and your best 5-card poker hand. The house plays to push. So their goal is to win one hand and lose the other hand, because the house long term will make money on the juice and the people who just straight lose. But
I have no idea what you just said there.
Yeah. This sounds like something I have to pay attention to. But video poker is like, I don't give a fuck if I win or lose.
I'll get to the best part.
Okay.
You can play Pai Gow with your friends for hours and drink for free and be up or down $20 by the time you're done.
That's my style.
Most of the time you push, which means you just take your bet back and let it go. And as you get drunker, the dealer will set your hand for you according to the house rules. I have sat at a Pai Gow table with a guy who could not lift his head. He was so drunk. And he just kept the same $5 chip laying in the little circle for 30 minutes. And the dealer would deal him 7 cards, turn them over, set up 2 hands, realize that he won 1, she won 1, knock the table, and move on.
I'm gonna try Pai Gow. This sounds great.
This sounds like a Authors and Dragons Pai Gow night.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it used to. It used to be the poker blogger thing, because we were all cheap fucks, but we liked to drink a lot. So we would take over a couple of Pai Gow tables and sit there, and probably out of 6 seats, we might have moved $200 in 5 hours. I sat an entire Sunday morning, drinking mimosas for like 4 hours on $20.
Damn.
Yeah, Pai Gow.
All right.
You will usually push. Now I said this, and now everybody's going to lose $1,000 playing Pie Gal and be pissed at me.
It's like, thanks, John. I have nowhere to live now.
To do that.
Bob's like, I promise I'm not losing $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of what do you call it? Self-discipline, but I am cheap as fuck.
A good rule for Vegas is every time you feel a little bit cocky, stop, look around, and realize that this was not built upon the backs of winners.
Yeah. If you look around and you are the drunkest person you can see, it's
Holy
time
shit.
to go to bed.
Congratulations.
It took 3 pitchers of Coors Light and a Vicodin, but I was there. It was a Friday night, and I was the most fucked up person I could see.
That truly is an accomplishment. I have been smashed in fucking Vegas, but I have never been the most destroyed person in the casino.
Yeah.
That's the Olympics of drinking, man. Kudos.
I woke up on my knees, lying face down on my bed with my pants, with one shoe on and my pants on one leg.
That is some shit.
I've done that on the street in Korea once.
Yeah, my wife wasn't pissed off at you. Oh, another rule that you may not know about. You're not allowed to carry your drunk friend down the hall through the hotel in Las Vegas. They have liability rules, so they will issue you a wheelchair.
That's pretty rad.
And it is possible to wheel your drunk friend right up to his door, knowing that his wife is in the room, and bang loud as fuck on the door, and then dine and dash on his ass.
That is brilliant. And also leads me to a good tip I have for folks sort of in the vein of overindulging. For the folks out there who are coming to Vegas and are going to experiment with legal marijuana for the first time, you might be tempted to try edibles. And that is a perfectly fine and fun thing. But be aware that those tend to hit people a little bit later and a little bit stronger than some stuff you might have experienced. I had a friend when we were on a trip in Vegas. We're all like, we're all hanging out. We've done the drinking thing. We're all going to go to the buffet. But we do like a sit and smoke and drink session beforehand. And we pass around like this edible candy bar thing. And she goes through a few bites because she's been smoking all day and hasn't really felt anything. And, we all stop. We all go get ready. We're walking to the buffet, like from the casino hallway. We're like halfway there, and she just stops and goes, "Nope, I gotta go." Are you okay? She's like, "I cannot be around people right now." Like, so the edibles hit. Oh, the edibles hit. So we walked her back up to her room and made sure she was okay before we went to dinner and everything. But yeah, do not take edibles a bite and an hour at a time would be my reference until you know how that shit hits on you. And remember that, different ones have different compositions and might affect you differently. So don't go in dick swinging just because you get through one okay. Take your time. Test things out. You can always eat more.
A piece of advice I was given about gambling in general from my parents actually was basically like, if you're gonna go into the casino, whether you're doing slot machines or the tables or whatever, pick a set amount of money and that is your allowance.
And don't carry more cash than that.
Yeah, don't carry more cash than that, and you are only allowed
an ATM card.
Yeah, not your ATM card if you can avoid it.
You are only allowed to bet that plus anything else you have picked up along the way. That what you bring in plus what you make there is your allowed pool.
Yeah, I got to say that.
Also, if you're coming in from out of the country, change money before you leave home at a bank, because the casinos are going to fuck you on the exchange rate, and the airport's going to fuck you on the exchange rate. What's another good one?
Unless you were already very well experienced with hanging out in a place like this, just like have a friend.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you want a buddy
Ideally, one that's not going to enable you terribly in the worst ways.
Authors
Joe
and
I are going to
Dragons
disagree
con
on that.
Yeah, man.
This might not be the con for you if your friends aren't going to enable you in your worst ways.
Fair.
Yeah, fuck you, Joe. I want to go. Like, just leave me alone. Just
All right, so
Yeah, but like you're not
I
going
have to
leave
stay
me
away
drunk
from
in a-
Drew.
You're not
Yeah.
going to leave me. You're not going to leave me in a gutter though.
No.
Passed out in a wheelchair outside your hotel room.
Drunk floating on a pool in the MGM. Now that's on the table. That's
Caesars.
fair. Okay. So here's one that I think some people might not realize because of the scale you see in movies. But the Strip is big. The Strip is a lot of fucking ground, and there's some space between those casinos. So wear comfortable shoes if you're planning on going more than one or two casinos up or down. Like for an evening, and pack comfortable shoes for your trip, because if you're walking the Strip, you are going to need them. And if you're going to a nice dinner, plan on just fucking Ubering, because you do not want to like put your nice but maybe not as comfortable shoes through all of that, especially if you're someone who's female and has the extremely less functional, more fashionable trade-off.
And you cannot hail a cab on the street on the Strip. Taxis are only legally allowed to pick you up at cab stands at casinos. So if you start walking from one end of the Strip to the other and you get tired, you're going to have to go up to the door of the casino, which is another 100 yards, and then catch a cab.
There's no problem. Open containers.
Yeah.
Right.
Same applies for Ubers. Everything, most of the Strip is like there's railing to keep you from in a big chunk of sections. Like it's just not possible. So Ubers, Lyfts, cabs. John brings up a great point. All of it. The casinos are basically your save points. You can pee, you can drink, you can catch a car. But when you're between those, man, you're in the level, and you got to get through or you got to go back, or you die. Those are your options.
Game over, man. Game over.
And the people watching on the Strip gets far better after about 2 a.m. Because watching cute 20-something girls walk up and down the Strip is okay. Watching cute 20-something girls bounce from puking in one trash can to the next is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Let me see here. I'm trying to think if there's any, like, essential stuff we haven't covered. Joe and Bevan, do you guys have any, like, questions or things you've seen that you've wondered, is that real, such as Bevan's prostitution?
Oh, jeez. Okay. You may have covered this a little bit before, but I'm very brain foggy right now. I know that you said that booze is expensive, unless you're gambling. But how, on average, expensive is food?
Depends where you eat.
Okay.
You can go way up, but
Yeah, I figured.
there's also a Subway with $5 footlongs in a food court between what used to be the Imperial Palace and Harrah's.
There's a Shake Shack by New York. There's an In-N-Out. Like there's.
How much are the buffets on average?
Lunchtime maybe 30, 40, depending on dinner. What do you want to say? Like 50, 60 probably.
Right.
More if you go booze.
They've gone way up since I was there then, because I was going to say $20 for lunch and 40 for dinner, but it depends on where you are. The better hotels have more expensive shit.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend that everyone set aside at least one really fucking good meal.
Okay.
Because there's some amazing food there, but also pretty much every casino has at least one pizza parlor, cafe, someplace where you can get a meal for $10.
Okay, cool. That was what I was wondering, and also because I hear stories about the buffets, and I've heard stories that vary from they're super expensive to they're cheap because they want you to gamble, and
yeah, that's a
true.
lie anymore.
That's what
Well, they're both true depending on the casino. It's all contextual. I still drive by from the airport the one that's like $5 prime rib buffet. So they exist. You can find
go
it.
to that one. I've heard it's really good.
Is it?
I've heard.
I have questions. I have deep concerns and questions.
Well,
buffet, you kind of have to make peace with. It's like, plan on it like you're spending for a nice dinner.
Okay.
Because you will be. Like, truly, like, the Wicked Spoon is one of my favorite places to eat. Like, not one of my favorite buffets.
So second then, should we be in advance, like at this point right now, reserving Wicked Spoon for us?
No, you can't. You don't really reserve buffets.
Okay, cool.
Like the high rollers, maybe, but that ain't gonna be us.
No.
Penny slots.
And also, you don't really, for most of the good restaurants, you don't actually have to sweat dressing nice if you don't want to. It is a tourist joint, so they are accustomed to people walking in looking like fucking hobos.
Like us mostly.
Truly, it's one of the most egalitarian places because, with a few exceptions, if the money folds, no one gives a shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You can afford to be there. You can be there.
Yeah, pretty much from what Drew and John are saying. Vegas is both truth and a lie, depending on where you go.
If you don't want to spend, if you have a total Vegas existence budget of $100 a day, you can make that happen. You stay downtown off strip. You eat downtown off strip. You take the double-decker bus to and from the strip. Or you stay at fucking Circus and take the monorail down. You can make it fit with whatever budget you've got.
I gotcha. Okay, cool. That's good to know.
It's like our thing is at Bally's, but that doesn't mean you have to stay at Bally's. There's a monorail stop at Bally's, so you could stay at Circus, MGM Grand, Harrah's, a bunch of different places where there's a monorail stop, and you can travel for, I don't remember how much I don't know how much it is now, but I think it's probably $20 for a week's pass.
Oh, that's nice.
So there are ways to do Vegas on the cheap.
That was the follow-up. How much, if you're visiting and you're planning on doing things like buffets and stuff and hanging with this general crowd, how much should you set aside for shit like, just like a budget for meals for like two people, let's say?
Oh, okay. I figure it will probably cost me $100 a day to eat.
All right.
So, and that's
literally. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And that's not counting booze.
Okay.
I honestly don't drink that much, so I figure it'll cost me less than $50 a day to drink. So I think if I'm looking at a food and booze budget of $150 a day, I'll have change left over.
Okay, that makes sense.
I was gonna say $100 a day. Weirdly enough, I completely agree with John. It might not all like work out perfectly. Like you might be
this is ballpark.
Yeah, Shake Shack for breakfast, or for lunch, and like some random for lunch, and then a really nice dinner. But there's usually at least one quasi-expensive meal in there somewhere, if for circumstance than not planning. And then you tend to just, the rest of them, it's like, oh fuck, that looks good, and we're here.
Okay. Also, so one last one. What kind of variety of wardrobe should you bring? Should you bring like nice clothes versus just mostly chilling out stuff?
Probably mostly comfortable. I mean,
okay.
For A&D Con specifically is a little different. You should, bring stuff appropriate to that. But in Vegas in general, comfort tends to be the most paramount because, again, no one really gives a shit what you look like unless you are going to a nice dinner. So maybe one nice outfit in case you decide you want to go have a dinner at a place where they do care.
Hold on.
Not happening.
Yeah, hold on one second here. Stuff that's appropriate to A&D Con. I mean, at that point, you should tell somebody, just mug a hobo before you come in.
Well, I meant for Joe, wear the merch.
Okay, wear the merch. That's a good thing. I was meaning to stock up on some merch anyway, which you should all do too. By the way, you can get it at our TeePublic store.
You guys don't have to wear the merch, but we're repping it, so we kind of do.
No, you guys have to wear the merch too.
Yeah, wear the merch.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go to the secret after Ultra Vegas exclusive party, wear the merch.
And not be judged.
Yeah, it definitely won't be just Bevan drinking out of a cooler for 5 minutes.
Also, the merch will probably be the difference between us walking by and being like, "Who the fuck are you?" versus my friend. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm probably going. I don't own a necktie or a suit, and I don't think I even own any dress pants right now. So I'm going to be bringing jeans and hiking shoes and T-shirts, and I'll have a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie with me because air conditioning is variable. But
it is a desert. That's a good one. Brace for extreme temperature variations. If it's going to get hot, it might get pretty hot. If it's going to get cold at night, it might get fairly cold. So remember, it's a fucking desert.
Yeah, layers. But yeah, I'm not planning on. You fuckers have seen what I wear to cons. That's what I'm wearing to this one.
I'll probably dress like I would to any con. So basically, I will plan on have a mix of warm weather gear, have a mix of cooler weather gear. And
it's September, so it'll basically be 80 degrees or 80, 85 degrees.
As Emily Kaplan would say, the cargo short mafia.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Cargo shorts, T-shirt, sandals, and a flannel if it gets chilly.
Oh, I thought you were going to say and your cooler.
Well, I'm not going to wear it.
Not until the end of the night.
Yeah.
You just empty all the beer and then just drink it with a straw.
I have a question for Joe and Bevan.
Yeah,
since
sure.
we're going around. So for you guys who have not actually gotten to go, is there any particular site or casino or set piece that you're really excited about seeing in person? You know, whether it lives up to imagining or not.
Oh
no,
man,
not at all.
I don't know enough about the landmarks there because it's always been sort of a vague curiosity. It hasn't really pinged on my radar before now, but the thing I am probably most stoked about is all about the food. So I'm going to be like, all right, Drew, teach me and guide me to the places of power.
I mean, that's a better one. What are you most excited about for Vegas?
Yeah,
that's a better one, Joe. So food for Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just excited about hanging out with you guys. I don't give a shit about Vegas. It's not anything I've ever been interested in visiting. Yeah, I'll enjoy myself, I'm sure, but yeah, that'll be on you guys and our guests for our convention.
That's a great pitch for the weekend. I don't give a shit about this place we're going to, but you should.
We only care about hanging out with you, our fans.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Well,
don't
I
give a
wasn't
shit.
even saying that. I was saying.
Here at Authors Dragons, we don't care about the place. We care about the people.
Most of the time, we don't care about that either. We just kind of care about ourselves.
And even then, it's optional.
John, I dominated the food talk a little bit. Do you have any big restaurant recs you want to throw out for the group or listeners?
Honestly, not really. It's been it's probably been 7 years since I last went to Vegas, so I don't even know what's still open that I used to really enjoy. So,
well, let me pose this. Well, let's go back to the question that we gave Joe and Bevan. What are you most excited about for going back to Vegas after 7 years?
I mean, other than hanging out with my friends and the con stuff, dude, it's been a long time since I played casino poker. I want to see if I've still got any of it. I mean, I was only ever a C+ player on my best day, but I could do pretty well in some of the longer form tournaments. So I really kind of want to see if I can still make a deep run at the Venetian Daily or something like that. So that's probably my Friday, is be at the Venetian at noon and try, or Aria at noon, and see if I can cash in that tournament, which will take up, noon to 6, and then hang out with everybody at night. So yeah, I really want to check that out again and try to see if I can still fucking play the game.
How soon should we be booking tickets for flights and hotel and stuff?
Flights is generally airline dependent, but the sooner the better.
Typically 4 weeks is going to be your ideal for flights. And shit, it's been so long since I got casino rewards or discounts. I think they start doing those like 2 or 3 months out, don't they, Drew?
We're fairly close to the window for when A&D Con will be. My recommendation would be that if you have a casino you want to stay at, or if you're checking, go to their offers page. They all have them very prominently displayed, and just check and see if they have a date window of like 20% off. Because if you're booking this far in advance, you'll have some sort of promotional option. It's just a matter of waiting until they put it on there. So if they have an offer for your time frame, that's probably a good time to book. If they don't have that yet, maybe cool your heels and wait a bit. We've got 4 or 5 months, so quite a bit of time. And Vegas is weird in that sometimes it can be cheaper the closer you get. But I'm going to just wait until I see the offers up so that I can do some cost-effective pricing. For the same reason that we booked Vegas, it's kind of a stay at whatever economic level you feel most comfortable with.
Any budget level. Okay, I'm gonna check out like the open manhole covers.
It's a spread out area, but in a very centralized way.
Okay.
You do not spend a ton of time in your room in Vegas.
And it's not like a real con where everything happens in one place. There'll probably be, hey, Hartness is going to go play poker for a while. 3 or 4 of the people going to the con want to go play poker too.
Okay. All right. So I guess my next question is, where'd you recommend staying? You guys have done this before.
So we picked our top ones, but that's fair. There's other stuff. John, you want to start us off on that one?
Yeah, I think that if you're looking at staying off the Strip, I would look at someplace like the Golden Nugget, which is downtown, but it's relatively recently renovated and is decent. You're not going to think you're going to die staying there. It's more than I want to spend because the offers aren't out yet. So
yep, all about the offers on that front.
Yeah.
So Golden Nugget.
That's one I'd look at. Yeah, I'd look at the Golden Nugget.
Golden Nugget's good. I've got a kind of a weird one. The Planet Hollywood on Strip, not terribly expensive. That's part of why I like it. You're right by like Caesars and Cosmo and like some of the pricier ones, but Planet Hollywood's not terribly overpriced. It's got the Miracle Mile on it, which is a bunch of shops and restaurants. So you can eat kind of high or low, real focused. And one of my favorite parts, it has an ABC store inside. That's where you can go to buy liquor, medicine, beers, food and snacks, like all your baseline shit at reasonable human prices is in that ABC store. So Planet Hollywood, for on a budget and convenience, and it's not that far from Bally's. It's like one casino over. So for A&D Con possibilities, a very solid option.
I almost got a tattoo there.
Of what? The Planet Hollywood logo?
No, the tattoo I got on my right forearm, I got it when I was in Vegas, and I was in the Miracle Mile and looked at the tattoo shop, but they wanted $300 for the same tattoo I got for $150 in the MGM Grand.
That's Vegas.
All right, cool.
Rick, did you have any? Oh, I can keep going for recommendations. Rick, did you have any? I was just trying to let it cycle.
Yeah, one with a fucking bathroom door.
I'll throw in one more low budget near Bally's, but very convenient option is the Link, LINQ. I think they just finished a remodel on some of the stuff. Maybe it was the casinos. I think I stayed there for, I want to say, like $60 a night on one trip.
Nice. See, that's the place that is where Imperial Palace used to be, isn't it?
I have no idea. That was before my time. Now, to be clear, I was on the Strip, but I was looking at the alley of a parking garage.
It's like across the street from Caesars.
Yeah.
That's
It's got the Ferris wheel. It's got that cool little outdoor mall area where you can kind of go walking. Lots of food and stuff. That's where In-N-Out is. So Link is like really convenient and very cheap if you can find like a good deal and don't mind a shit view. Which why would you? It's Vegas. Get out of the room.
Yeah, I don't mind shit view. Here's a question. My my wife and kids have never been to Vegas, and they're curious, and so they'll be joining me.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe how much of a pain in the ass is that going to be? Is that an appropriate question?
Every casino has a kids program.
Oh, that's interesting.
Every one of them, because I used to. Oh God, when my parents used to go to casinos, they would drop me off at them, and this was like at Coshada. Not even fucking talking about Vegas level. There's always some place for gamblers to put their kids.
Well, I'm really glad I asked that question. This is something I did not know.
Honestly,
I would look into where you're looking at staying. Maybe weigh that as a factor when you're considering hotels, because that's not to say that all the programs are going to be of equal quality or anything like that. So, maybe something to look into when you're checking hotels, but they should all have something, because their goal is to get people to gamble as much and as capably as they can. And if chucking the kids in a giant arcade facilitates that, then they will build a fucking arcade.
Well, that's great, because I mean, I keep taking them to these conventions, and they always get bored, and they always come and be a pain in my ass while I'm trying to sell books at tables. And
I always wind up babysitting them for at least 2 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good. Someone other than Rick can babysit them.
Well, we'll have hopefully 200 convention attendees.
Party. All right, do you guys have any more before we round this one out?
It kind of does.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Though I am extremely hungry now.
Oh yeah. You and me both.
I was gonna say I'm with Joe. Like last time I was there, I just went to I just went to whatever things were at Mandalay Bay, whatever restaurants, which were decent. But when I go away, I want to have at least one memorable meal. Like Con Carolinas, I remember that sawmill gravy for breakfast. That was just awesome. I want something like my wife and I would do this whenever either of us go anywhere. We like to come back and just kind of make the other one jealous, because let me tell you the awesome food I had at
Rick, whenever you wake up, just text me and see where I am, 'cause I indulge when it comes to food in Vegas.
Cool. Like I said, I'm basically going to fucking follow your ass around. And just be like, where's Drew going to eat? I'll go eat there.
The Drew Whedon food tour. I get really high and I just go eat up and down the strip.
Yeah, Joe and I are going to be like two little lost puppies following you.
And my wife.
Looks like Pac-Man. Oh, my goodness. Well, that was a lot of fun to talk about. It will be even more fun to experience. And listeners, we hope that you are going to come out and join us. If not for this one, then just for Vegas in general at some point. All right, we will talk to you next week on Authors and Dragons. Bye.
Bye.